going straight into our first presenter for this segment, which will be focusing on emerging opportunities in agriculture for young people. And joining me this afternoon is Mr. Aduragumi Fashaki, as I had earlier introduced. Is the CEO at Big Farms and Allied Services. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr.
Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. So I have a number of questions that I would like to ask you as it regards, the topic of discussion today. But first, I must commend the amazing work that you do. And, the first question I have here is, what are the myths and misconceptions young people have about agriculture? And what are some of the practical ways to make the agricultural value chain attractive to young people?
I feel they perceive agriculture like an alternative. They feel is the last alternative they can always take. They feel it's for dirty people. They feel agriculture is for drudgery, and they feel people who do agriculture are those who are struggling and suffering, which is also very far from that. Any agriculture that is not cool, that is not sexy, is not agriculture, right? So people feel that all the guys who are into agriculture, those who find it so difficult to survive in another sector, they felt there are people who cannot do anything for themselves, who have lost hope already. So that's the way they perceive it. If there is an alternative that I personally perceive that should follow after, or what do we do to make agriculture appealing to young people? I feel we need to start making agriculture so attractive for young people. I think we also need to start throwing light on young people who are doing so well, and also entrepreneurs who are doing so well in the agricultural space, on like what we have, like what we do in the fintech, like what we do in entertainment, like what we do in other sector, banking. Because one thing I've discovered over the time since when I've been working in the agricultural space is that I've discovered that there are no profiling of young people, there are no profiling of entrepreneurs who are doing so well in the agri space. There are no profiling like what we have in the United Nations, like what Buffett has done with agriculture. So when people, story go a long way when you talk about agriculture, it's about what you are growing up with. When you start growing up, you see people who are doing so bad, like the way they make agriculture feel. Let me just take an example so that I can easily drive home my point. Growing up for me as a young person, I wasn't going to choose agriculture because people ahead of me, my father, the way they pass agriculture is less appealing, right? It wasn't making sense because from the clothes they wear to the farm, from the implement, the equipment they use, is not appealing, right? So you can't be talking about that kind of narrative to young people, that is to embrace agriculture when you are passing with crude equipment, when you start wearing bad clothes. Sometimes when I appear to conference, when I appear to event, I just dress the way I feel because that's my office. I can decide to wear a suit or suit up to go to my farm. That's my office. It's, no, you're not a farmer, you're an internet farmer, blah, blah, blah. But we need to start making agriculture attractive for young people to come into place. We need to start providing young people and entrepreneurs. We need to start looking out for funding. I mean, funding is not the kind of funding that we throw out right now. It's not the funding of 500,000 and say 500,000. No. We should drive agriculture in form like socialization mindset, in which we are able to select few young people who are doing so well. Maybe they pass for like 3 years, 4, 5 years, and give them funding. Like what has happened in countries like US, like Nebraska, and what has happened in Netherlands. If you don't see young people as the backbone, as the lifeline of this nation, there will be issues. So we need to start looking at how we can make agriculture appealing and attractive for young people to come into it.
Thank you so much, sir, for the amazing insights you've shared in the past few minutes.